From Sandipani Muni Das. I wonder which Sandipani Muni this is. Anyway, never mind. The position of Harinam Sankirtan in our movement is the subject. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and your great service to fulfilling his mission. I'm sure you are aware of one of the great devotees in our ISKCON movement, Srila Indra Prabhu. Recently I've heard some of his recordings, lectures, conversations, and he's always giving emphasis on that. One of the biggest problems in ISKCON is that the performance of Naga Harinam Sankirtan is on the decline, and that is the reason for many problems in ISKCON. It is now often sidelined and marginalized as a token activity that is performed once in a while. He feels it is more important than book distribution. If we look historically at ISKCON, the times when most people joined the movement was when there was ample, regular Harinam Sankirtan being performed every day. Every day is written as one word here. Similarly, many great saints in our movement were engaged in regular Harinam Sankirtan, such as Vishnu, Jan Swami, etc. I am also aware that book distribution in Brihad Madanga has been promoted as our Kirtan by Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as being equal to Harinam Sankirtan. Book distribution is still emphasized quite nicely in most of our temples in ISKCON. But often when there is difficulty in ISKCON, lots of Kirtan and 24-hour Kirtan should be held. Now I see a huge popularity in Kirtan in the temples. In Europe and America, regularly large and long Kirtans are held, although I still do not see the results fully manifesting yet. I believe it may do soon. Here are my questions. Is book distribution a means for replacing Naga Harinam Sankirtan, or that they should both be the main focus of our movement side by side? Do you feel Naga Harinam Sankirtan should be promoted to regular daily activity, or should be kept as a weekend activity? Looking forward to hear your authoritative view on this point. Well, just as a side point, an important point at the same time, referring to one of the great devotees in our ISKCON movement, Srila Indra Prabhu, although that is probably not intended by the writer of this question, I'll take the opportunity to comment on this, that sometimes it's considered that devotees who live in Vrindavan, who perform mostly what we might say the pure activities, like doing lots of Harinam, or who speak a lot on Gopi Leelas and higher levels, they are considered to be great devotees. Although, what's wrong with following Srila Prabhupada's example of not speaking on higher topics regularly, of managing ISKCON and its activities, and pushing on the Sankirtan movement in the manner that is required? If someone's doing that, or assisting Srila Prabhupada in doing that in various capacities, do they not get his mercy? Is it that you can only be a great devotee if you speak on Gopi Leelas, or live in Vrindavan, or perform only Harinam, or chant lots of rounds, or fast on Ekadashis and all this kind of thing? So that's one point. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. Yasya prasada nagati katopi. Those who are getting Srila Prabhupada's mercy, they can advance in Krishna consciousness. So it may be that devotees who live in Vrindavan are highly exalted, and it may be that devotees who are not living in Vrindavan are highly exalted. And if it's only by living in Vrindavan you can be highly exalted, then how is Krishna consciousness going to spread all over the world? Prabhupada, who's the most exalted devotee, came out of Vrindavan and gave Krishna consciousness to everyone. So that's a point on the side. He is always giving emphasis to one of the biggest problems ISKCON of Harinam Sankirtan is on the decline. I'm not sure if it's on the decline. There's probably more and more going on as the preaching of the Krishna consciousness movement is going on all over the world, and there are more and more people taking to Krishna consciousness, and there's more and more Harinam Sankirtan going on. So I don't think it's on the decline. I would think if we were to make a count of it, we'd find that every year, by Naga, he's referring here to Naga Sankirtan, going out in the streets and the towns. More and more, I think we'll find that there is more and more Naga Kirtan every year, because there are more and more people doing it. The reason for many problems in ISKCON. What the reason is for many problems in ISKCON, it may be difficult to say exactly. The real reason is lack of proper Krishna consciousness. Many reasons could be given. You could say that maybe it's due to offenses in deity worship. You could postulate, for instance, that it's become a norm within our movement for those who are not Brahminically initiated to worship deities. That could be postulated as a cause of many problems. For instance, when actually in the early days of our movement, Naga Kirtan was the main activity of almost all the devotees before the book distribution started in force. And there were so many problems at that time also. We're living in the material world, and actually the first writings of Srila Prabhupada that I ever read was in the look up that chapter of killing the Keshi demon in Krishna book. The first words I read, that Vrindavan is such a nice place, but the material world is so contaminated that even in Vrindavan there are disturbances from deities, from demons. Sorry. Oh, is it? All right. Anyway, the point is, Prabhupada said Vrindavan is such a nice place, but even you got it? What's the chapter title? Killing the Keshi demon and Vyomasura. So how does that start, the chapter? After being instructed by Kamsa. Oh, then I must have the wrong chapter. Maybe it wasn't that chapter. Anyway, to that effect, that even if we are fully spiritual, there are disturbances. That's the nature of the material world. Even in Dwaraka, when Krishna was there, even when Vrindavan, Krishna himself, there were so many disturbances. Of course, Krishna didn't feel disturbed because he's Krishna. But in this material world, there's heat, there's cold. In Kali Yuga, there are so many disturbances from demons. Harinam will purify our consciousness. So if there are disturbances coming from our own consciousness, that will purify. But at the same time, it takes some time. So there will be disturbances in our movement. And we're always preaching. Preaching means that we're going against the current of the materialistic society, which means some people won't like it. Preaching also means that new people are joining with their neophyte consciousness and their contaminated consciousness and their misunderstandings. So that also cause problems. So it's not that simply by performing Harinam there won't be difficulties. In fact, Krishna may even send more to test us. There may be more difficulties. So it's not necessarily true that by performing Naga Kirtan that all the problems will go away. But if we Kirtan, we should have sadhana, the program that Prabhupada gave. Now, if we look historically at ISKCON, the times when most people join the movement, when there's ample Harinam Sankirtan, and giving the example of Vishnu Jan Swami. Well, actually, historically, if we want to be really factual here, Vishnu Jan Swami was traveling around and he made a few devotees here and there, but it was when Tamal Krishna Maharaj joined Vishnu Jan and started emphasizing the book distribution and started preaching aggressively to make devotees that the number of devotees expanded much more. And practically in any assembly of devotees, if we ask people how they came to Krishna consciousness, and if we ask them who read a book first, and especially in the West, we'll find that most came by reading Prabhupada's books. That's how they came to Krishna consciousness. Aindra Prabhu, it's stated here, he thinks it's more important than book distribution. Well, Prabhupada himself, when he was asked about this, he said that book distribution is more important. It's there in the letters, and he said that It is the greater kirtan. He gave the example of the Brihan Mridanga, or Brihat Mridanga, whatever, that it can be heard for a short distance, but the books, they go all over the world. So Prabhupada, he emphasized it more. And when he was asked about performing Harinam, he said, yes, they should go on. He said, it's not that the Naga Kirtan should be stopped. But he said the devotees, they can have morning and evening temple programs, and the rest of the time they can go out for book distribution. So the decline in Harinam, outside Harinam Sankirtan, that came about in our movement in the early 1970s, I would think, that was ordained by Srila Prabhupada himself. So if you want to fault anyone, you can fault Srila Prabhupada, but I don't recommend it because that's offensive. Better not to keep this book on your knee. Of course, let there be plenty of Harinam also. That should be there. That's very good. We're not saying it shouldn't be there, but Srila Prabhupada himself emphasized book distribution. There was one instance in Calcutta, the devotees were going out daily on Harinam in Dalhousie, downtown Calcutta, Esplanade or whatever. You can put it on the table if you want. And Srila Prabhupada said and in other places in India, and Srila Prabhupada said to stop it. He said that people, they take it that we're beggars, because it's common in India, especially in Bengal, that people, they beg during Harinam. Even now, if you go in the local trains from, say, Shelda to Krishnanagar, you'll guaranteed on your journey there'll be someone singing Harinam and begging. So Prabhupada said people think that we're beggars. It's decreasing our prestige. Therefore he stopped the devotees going in Harinam, had them going out to make life members. So is book distribution a means for replacing Harinam Sankirtan? It was never intended as such. We only have Harinam public Harinam at the weekends. That's not true. In many temples, it's true. One reason is because in many temples there are hardly any devotees, and just enough to run on the temples. And then devotees who are congregational members, they're working in the week, and they're only free at the weekends. So there are some practical reasons for that. I would also say that someone who promotes so much that devotees should go more on Harinam Sankirtans, they really feel so strongly, they could teach by example. I mean, Aindraprabhu has passed away now, but he could teach that by example. As for instance, Janananda Goswami does. He does Harinam wherever he goes. Lokanath Maharaj has promoted the Padayatra, which is, they do a lot of public Sankirtan. So, there are many Rath Yatra festivals. There are so many in India nowadays. They're in all kinds of places which you never heard of. In Delhi alone, there are maybe 10 or 12 every year. So Rath Yatra means lots of public Harinam. So it is going on. Should it be promoted to a regular daily activity? Yes, if it can be. Definitely, it's very good to do. Daily, all day, 24 hours. As much as possible. But we have to see practically also. It's not that the book distribution should decrease or anything else should decrease. Another thing is, apart from book distribution, Srila Prabhupada did establish many temples which require so many services, such as cooking, cleaning, administering, to run them on. And deity worship, and Prabhupada started programs like Gurukul, Bhaktivedanta Institute, etc., which require devotees to do other things. Srila Prabhupada started many programs. He wanted doll exhibitions, so many programs. So it's not that everyone, in Prabhupada's preaching vision, it's not that everyone is engaged fully in Harinam Sankirtan all the time. So yes, there should be Harinam Sankirtan. More and more. And it is more and more, because there's more and more preaching going on and more people are coming to Krishna consciousness. If we say that more people joined our movement when there's more Harinam Sankirtan, we say, how is that? Because there are so many more devotees now, and the number is increasing every year. So it's not only by Harinam Sankirtan that people become devotees.